Week from tonight, high school football season kicks off here in Western New York, modified shortly thereafter. And tonight there is that spotlight on safety after a middle school player in West Virginia died from injuries that he sustained during a recent practice. 13-year-old Cohen Craddock's father says he collided with another player, fell to the ground and hit his head. His brain started to swell. He was rushed to the hospital and died the next day. That followed another tragedy in Alabama. 16-year-old quarterback Caden Tollier suffered a brain injury after a routine tackle. These types of incidents are rare. Last year, 13 football players from the youth level up to college died while playing the sport. 3 of those tied to traumatic brain injuries. Cohen's dad already turning his grief into action. He believes all players should wear soft-shell helmet coverings like these Guardian caps previously worn by even Bills players during practices. For the first time this year, the NFL will allow Guardian caps to be worn during the regular season. Well, Cohen's dad saying, quote, "I believe if my son would have been wearing something like this would have made a totally different outcome." He added, "What image would you rather have? Somebody seeing you laying in a casket or you wearing something to protect your body?" Dr. John Leddy is a sports medicine physician and a professor at the University at Buffalo's School of Medicine and an expert on concussions. He joins us now live tonight. Sir, thank you so much for your time. This story, I know how deeply it is impacting that community in West Virginia. I grew up in the same county where that tragedy happened. There are a lot of questions there about what happened to this young man. First of all, can you just tell us about, we see the numbers and we know that these types of traumatic head injuries among youth football players are rare, but they sometimes happen. What is the research telling us about this?
Well, they are rare, and I suspect, I don't know all the details of these particular injuries, but it sounds like unfortunately, these players succumbed pretty quickly to their head injury, and that makes me think that they had brain bleeding when they got hit. And that's a very rare, but unfortunately, a very serious injury can lead to death, as it did in these 2 cases. This is not a concussion. This is more than a concussion. It's a traumatic brain injury that I think included bleeding into the brain, which is why in the one case, the boy's brain tissue swelled. Again, these are not common, but they are devastating. And there's not a great deal of research on them because they're so rare. You know, the best we can do is try to make rules that limit head-to-head direct contact and have players wear the best helmets they can obtain. Although these don't, even when we do this, they can't prevent all injuries.
Yeah, there is no perfect solution out there. We saw in the video there youth football players wearing these Guardian caps. Some people aren't really even aware of what these are. They do look a little bit funny when you see them out on a football field, but how effective are they at, you know, lessening the severity of a head injury if something goes horribly wrong? Do we know?
Well, it depends on who you look at. The NFL uses them because they did a study a couple of years ago where wearing the Guardian cap reduced the incidence of concussion significantly during preseason. In college players, there's no evidence that they, in fact, do reduce concussions, and in some biomechanical scientific studies, they really don't reduce the impact forces either. So. Depends on the study you look at. There was a study of youth football players, which would apply to these athletes, that showed that wearing the Guardian cap and employing a safe tackling technique actually did reduce the number of hard hits measured by an accelerometer. So there's some research suggesting that in professional players and maybe in very younger players, they might be beneficial. But there's other research that's conflicting. So we just don't know yet. We need more data. I know that sounds unsatisfying to people, but until they're studied in more detail and we see if they actually reduce forces and or the incidence of concussions during games and practices, we won't know really if we should be prescribing them to everybody in all age groups.
I'm almost out of time, but we heard, the plea from the father of this young student in West Virginia who lost his life. He thinks everyone should have to wear these. The science might not be there to support that yet. But what is your message to parents who hear stories about these and their kids are playing youth football right now and they just worry about it?
Well, I don't know if his son wearing a guardian cap would have prevented that injury. It's possible, but we just don't know. Football is a risky game, and the best people can do is play by the rules and try to have the best equipment you can have. And if somebody is involved in a collision and they have symptoms, it's very important to tell your child not to ignore them or minimize them, to tell someone about the symptoms, come out and be checked, because a greater risk for these players is playing with concussion symptoms. And we know if they get another hit with an actively concussed brain, then that can lead to catastrophic outcomes as well. So that's the best we can do right now.
Absolutely. Great insight. Dr. John Leddy, sports medicine physician, professor at UB's Medical School. Thank you for your time, sir.
You're welcome, sir.